Hey, David. Welcome to the Entrepreneurship Sucks podcast.
By the way, I love the name of your podcast.
We do too.
Thanks, man.
Do you guys know the story of Elon Musk and when he was asked what would you tell young entrepreneurs coming up in the entrepreneurial world? You ever heard that story?
No.
Tell us.
So he's in an interview and somebody asked him. They said, you're such a great entrepreneur. What advice would you give to young entrepreneurs that are coming up in the game? And he said, don't do it. It sucks.
Yo,
Yeah, it's literally what he said.
that's
He
awesome.
said it sucks. He says you don't sleep, you don't eat, you're never home, you're always working, you never spend time with your family. It absolutely sucks in all different ways. Like find a great job and go work for somebody. That's literally what he said.
Dude,
Yep.
we'll have to find that clip and see if we can get clearance to use it for the intro.
I think it would be huge. Look for it. Look
Yeah,
for
man.
it. Like
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I don't know. You probably just Google Elon Musk, don't do it, and you'll find it.
All right,
Like,
cool.
you know.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, man.
So, for everybody listening, obviously, this is like the locker room talk for entrepreneurs, where we talk about the stuff that, we don't want to talk about in public, but have the space to. So, and
Yeah,
exactly what Elon said. So,
Like
David,
the worst shit you go through as an entrepreneur, and obviously now that we've made it through it, man, we can laugh at it. So, this is no holds barred.
yeah, a bit of comedic
This is
relief.
This is not the PG version of entrepreneurship.
Fuck no.
Exactly. Yes. This is what it's intended
Awesome.
for. Yeah, man. So, we got your bio. We know something about you, but who's David? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Man, that's a loaded question. You're probably better off reading the bio. But, I'll tell you a little bit. I was born and raised in New York in the Bronx. My mother's Puerto Rican. My father's Jewish, but I didn't know that till I was 29 years old because I didn't meet my father till I was 29, which is interesting. So I am officially a Puerto Rican Jew, which is not normal, not something you meet every day.
Not very common for sure.
Yeah, every time I say that to somebody, they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Look at me, dude. Do I look Puerto Rican? I knew something was off. You know what I mean?" I even got the Jewish beard, dude. Come on, man. You know. But I joined the Marine Corps when I was 19 years old. I knew that I needed a significant kick-ass change in my life, and that meant me getting my ass kicked, for lack of better words. And so I decided that I needed to join the Marine Corps to do something better and bigger and stronger in my life. And I did. I served 9 years faithfully to the United States Marine Corps. I
Thank you
got
for your
out
service,
of
brother.
thank you,
Yeah,
man.
thanks, man.
I got out of the Marine Corps in 2004, and I was getting out of the military with a bachelor's degree, almost a master's degree, which I did end up finishing. I have a master's degree in international business. But my skill set was armor. So I was a weapons tech, weapons specialist, and shooting instructor. And really, there's not a whole lot of job opportunities in the real world for that kind of skill set. So I always joke and tell people I had a choice of the police department, Bloods or Crips. Um, you know,
So funny.
and just depended how entrepreneurial I wanted to be. Did none of the above. Ended up working at the Chrome Detention Center, which is a detention center for criminals who are being deported. Realized that I was sitting in a room with 80 criminals and I was unarmed and the door was locked from the other side, and just figured I was safer in Afghanistan. So I decided to get out of that job immediately, and I found a sales job. And to put things into perspective, at the same time, I'm getting my real estate license because my cousin's in mortgages. She's like, dude, you need your real estate license. Like, don't mess around. This is not something you want to give up on, And I ended up getting a sales job for a company in Aventura, a steel company. They sold carbon steel pipe for like piling and oil and sewage and you name it, right? And I worked for them for a couple years, man, and they taught me sales, and I fell in love with sales. Like that was like being able to close somebody became an addiction, you know? And I had so much fun with it that I like fell in love with the sales aspect, but I did not fall in love with the limited growth that I had at this company. Like my ability to grow as a salesperson was there, but title wise and growth in the company was not there. Right. And I wanted to, I just coming from the Marine Corps. So I was used to going through ranks, right? Like one day you're a corporal, next day you're a sergeant and staff sergeant, and you get different responsibilities and you get more responsibilities and you get leadership opportunities. I was never going to get that here. And, so I went all in on my real estate business and used my sales skills there. Had no idea how to run a business, but I knew how to sell, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah, and so smashed my head a billion times, and then I made it into the business, and eventually it became a very cool thing, successful. I got mentors, I got coaches, and about 10 years ago, I launched a coaching company. And so all real estate related, right? So real estate business related. And that kind of was by accident. People were just like, hey, dude, can like I love seeing what you do. Can you coach me to do what you do, And then 2 years ago, we formulated it and we rebranded it as the Freedom Organization. So I still operate a real estate sales team. That's my Kurz team after my last name, David Adam Kurz. It's the Kurz team. And we're associated with a company called LPT Realty. It's the fastest growing real estate company in the nation in history. And we are also running the coaching company. I'm a partner in a title company as well. So all within the same realm, just different responsibilities, different growths. Yeah. My wife is the chief operating officer of my coaching firm. And we operate in a different way, And so my coaching for real estate agents is very much focused on their business development side, but it's also a highly accountable situation, right? So it's almost like you're training with a Marine, dude. You got to step up to the plate. You know what I mean?
It's intense.
Yeah.
I quite literally is training with a Marine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you are one. Once a Marine, always a Marine, right?
Always a Marine. Yeah, I said right? No, it is training with a Marine.
Absolutely.
And I go in on my people. Like if if you coach with me, I'm gonna hold you accountable. If you don't do your work, I will hang up the phone on you. Like it is what it is. But if you're looking for that kind of accountability, I'm your guy. If you're looking for somebody to coddle you and make you feel good and have a therapy session once a week, it's not fucking me. And I've learned all the ups and downs, and I've felt the pain, and I've been through the lawsuits, and I've lost partners, and I've had people backstab me, and I've had the trolls talk shit about me on social media, and all the stuff that makes entrepreneurship suck has absolutely 1000% happened to me. And listen, you want to really get into entrepreneurship sucks. I had a heart attack 3.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or almost 4 weeks ago. And I'm in great shape. I work out 4 to 5 times a week. I eat healthy. I bench more than my weight. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm a pretty big guy, and I had a fucking heart attack, and
was this your first one?
It's my first one.
Do you know what?
Hopefully my last.
Hopefully, I was about to say, hopefully it's your last one. Do you know what triggered it? Does the doc know?
High blood pressure and stress levels. And so here's the crazy part, though. I deal with stress very well. Whereas I pay it no mind, but it doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. I said that to a friend of mine. I said, I don't actually feel that stressed out. And she said to me, Dave, she goes, the level of stress that you absorb is not what normal people can handle.
Yep. Yeah. So it's built up and it's manifested in there,
Years and years.
It's not going anywhere because you've built this shell around it to sustain that pressure.
By the way, I thrive on it, Kevin.
Yeah.
Like I thrive on it.
Yep.
I thrive on it. Like you want to see me win, put me in a shitty situation.
Yeah. Dude, I get that.
For
man.
sure.
Tell me I
was
can't
this close to the military myself, man. It was sales and then the military was right there. My brother-in-law, we were very, very close. He's a few years younger than me. He went into the Marine Corps, and we kind of went, different paths after that, right? He did his 4 years. He was a little bit more, so when he went in, the recruiting officer took a liking to him, and he was like, he didn't really want him to see action, kind of took him under his wing. And, he's like, look, career wise, let's focus on your career. Chose to be a generator engineer, ended up not seeing any action, stayed at Camp Pendleton for the whole 4 years. And so like he was a little, you know how it is, right? Like guys who don't get to be there with their brothers, it was hard for him to kind of, do that. And then he realized after the fact why he pushed him towards the generator engineer role, right? But ultimately it led him to a great job. He's conductor for Amtrak now, making amazing money, got a nice family and everything. So, but yeah, dude, I get it, man. The thriving under pressure, right, is like kind of what you were saying, man. And
pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I'm not. Josh can tell you, man. I'm not big on the slow or the tedious.
So it's interesting that you said that, right? Because now I have this heart attack, and I'm on these medications that make me feel really slow because they lower my blood pressure, therefore slowing down my heartbeat, therefore making me a normal person.
And you don't feel like yourself.
Yeah, I don't feel like myself, right? Yep. So Saturday, I'm in Arizona and I'm hanging out with Brad Lee and Andy Elliott, and I'm not myself. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the night, I looked at my wife and I go, man, this was like not the best presentation of who I am.
Yeah.
Right. Because I was in slow fucking motion. Right. Day before that, I'm hanging out with Sugar Shane Mosley in Las Vegas. Right. Yeah. And I'm still in slow motion. I'm not asking the right questions. Like I'm not quick on my feet, and I felt like shit. And so yesterday I got frustrated. I put out a podcast and I started to talk about, like, days are passing by and I'm starting to analyze it in my head, right? And so I took a Post-it and I wrote on it and I go, I'm officially in God mode.
I started watching that episode a few hours ago while I had some time before we hopped on, man. I love it.
And I put this Post-it on my glass mirror in my bathroom, like where I wash my face and I get ready every day, so forth and so on. And if you understand God mode, you know what that means, right? Mm-hmm. It means that like you're in a video game, you punched in the code for God mode, you can't fucking die, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so that's where I'm at right now. So then in this podcast, I apologize to my wife because I'm not going to slow down. Mm-hmm. And then I said, thank you to my friends and family who have all out of love come to me and said, hey, Dave, like you really got to slow down. You do too much. Mm-hmm. You really got to slow down. And in this podcast, I said, look, I appreciate you guys for the amount of love that you have for me, but you're asking me to not be me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not something that you would be on your deathbed and be proud of if you were to slow down just to stay alive. Because then you're like, are you really living at that point?
I'm not, right? So I actually said that on the podcast. I go, I can take my military retirement funds and the money that I make residually through the businesses that I have, and I could move to certain parts of Costa Rica and live on a mountain with a view of the beach in a small house, chilling, and have no stress whatsoever. And most people would look at that and go, wow, that sounds like the life. And it potentially
That's torture for me, bro.
But it's not me. It's not me, right? It's not me. I don't know how to function in that life, nor am I interested in understanding what that's like. Now, if you're going to send me there for 4 days to relax and get a few massages and like it's me and wifey and we're making, then different story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
Different story.
Can I ask a question about what having a heart attack is like?
I'll give you the two aspects. During, it's 11 a.m. I'm feeling some pressure in my chest, but it feels really like acid reflux, like you just had jalapenos all morning, and I felt the pressure in my chest, but I kind of didn't pay it any mind. Around 1:00, I took a pre-workout, went to the gym for an hour and a half, and now it's really starting to hurt because now my heart's overworking, right? I took pre-workout and I'm working out, right? And that morning I had coffee, and then I go to a couple meetings, and then my final meeting of the day is at 5 o'clock. It happens to be at a bar, and I'm meeting with these two people in the industry, and we all have a drink, and I have a tequila, which then continues to raise my heart rate, right? And now I'm in the car, and it went from a little bit of pressure in my chest to feeling like a 300-pound person was sitting on my chest. And I could hear my heartbeat in my head, and my head felt like it was full of blood. And my eyes started dimming with every heartbeat. So imagine a 300-pound person sitting on your chest, and imagine feeling like you're about to lose consciousness during that process. That's exactly what it felt like. And then I'll give you the post. The post is, now you're medicated. Now you're good. They got you under control. But now you're laying in a hospital. There's beeping sounds everywhere, and your kids and your wife and your mom and your best, closest friends are all standing in the room freaking the fuck out. And you think to yourself, was this my fault? Mm-hmm. Like, did I almost fuck over my whole family?
Wow.
And you start really thinking about, and look, the brain is designed to protect you. It's a defense mechanism, right? Like, if there's a fire, your brain says, don't go touch that. So the first thing that the brain says is, Dave, slow down. It really does. Like, it takes training to get out of that, right? So first thing the brain says is, hey, you need to slow down because you're going to fuck this up. You're going to leave your family, And it was like a very eerie feeling to sit there and like just quietly, like I was letting everybody talk and I was looking at them and I was going, damn, I almost messed this up. I almost left my wife without a husband and my kids without a father and my mother without a son. Like, no mother should endure the loss of a son. Mm-hmm. Like a son should and be willing to endure the loss of a mother, but a mother or a father should never endure the loss of a son or daughter.
Absolutely.
My mom just died on Saturday, so I get that.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
I appreciate it, man. It was, I feel like we had our first 2 episodes scheduled for Tuesday. She passed on Saturday, and I really feel it was a test of my endurance, the test of my perseverance to push through, and a sign to me that we're on the right path, and that this is, when one door closes, another one opens, right? And I mean, entrepreneurship sucks, right? This is the most thankless, journey we could ever go on. It doesn't give you FMLA. It doesn't give you bereavement leave. It doesn't give, you have to just keep going.
All the time, every day, all day.
24/7. You're
By the way, first of all, sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's a big loss. Mother's a big loss, obviously. Mm-hmm. And second of all, like, most people would tell you, you should have taken some time to grieve. I'm going to tell you, congratulations. Right? Because it takes balls to say, you know what? I committed to something, and what happened to me is not everybody else's problem. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to go and commit to that, and I'm going to grieve in my own time, in my own way.
I committed to our team. I committed to myself. I committed to my wife, who I've been with for 22 years. I committed to my business partner. I committed to so many people. I have 3 kids. This is way bigger than what I feel.
Yeah.
Now, you took a day. I remember you called me during church.
You made me take a day.
That's
why I love you.
Yeah, you were about to work, and I was just like, I told my mom about it afterwards, and I was just like, Kevin says he's good. And then my mom was just like, he's muscling through it. It's going to hit him later. And I was just like, I don't think it's going to be as hard. It's like, you losing your grandma, because obviously what we talked about, but you took that day and you realized, you're like, this is going to be either what makes me or what breaks me. Yep. And you know, all the crazy stuff that's been happening since the eclipse. Like everything is just lining up for our success.
Yeah.
So
this whole eclipse was about clearing out clutter, like sediment, like the shit at the bottom of your gas tank that's slowing your engine down, right?
Yeah. It's funny because when you I mean, go back to the podcast and listen to it, and you'll see I actually talk about this exactly, because God sends you messages and God sends you
Tests,
and it is up to us to interpret what they mean. You know what I mean? It's not up to everybody else to interpret it. It's up to us. It's up to you who it happened to. People will tell you what they feel is most comfortable. You need to do what's best for you. Yeah,
absolutely. So did you pass out on the road, or did you get to a hospital?
No, actually, so I called my daughter. I was like three blocks away from the house at that point, and I muscled
How old's your
through.
daughter?
She's 24.
Okay.
And I muscled through, and I called her up, and I was like, "Hey, are you still at my house?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm here." And I go, "Dude, I am coming home, and I need you to meet me outside." And so she grabbed me and pulled me and took me to my room. And I took some blood pressure medicine, and it didn't kick in. It didn't work. And so when my wife walks in the room, and I started getting dressed, and she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to the hospital." And she's like, are you kidding me? Like, for me to say that I'm going to go to the hospital, like, it's a big deal. You know what I mean? So my wife's like, real? She's like, all right, I'm changing my clothes. Let's go. You know?
Well,
and yeah, thank God that we did.
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy. At least you made it home.
Yep.
Do you think you would have passed out?
I'm a big advocate for being healthy and staying in shape. I'm not a nut. Let me be clear. Like, I am far from a bodybuilder and far from a vegan, right? Like, you know, like I have good shape, good strength, and I eat healthy, like beef, chicken, fish, whatever it is, you know. I'm an advocate for that, and I'll tell you, the doctor told me that if I wasn't in the shape that I was in, the heart attack would have been a lot worse. And so I hope that your listeners kind of will pull that away and think for a minute, like look in the mirror and go, if I had a heart attack right now, would I survive? You know,
because you had a strong heart, you could handle it.
I have a strong heart and strong physique and open veins and blood flow and you name it. Everything that good cardio and good weightlifting does for you. You know what I mean?
I love it, man. Yeah, absolutely. So, aside from the medication, and in that making you feel like it lowered your vibrations, what else, I guess, in your spirit or in your heart or your mindset has shifted after that experience?
Oh, man. I want to go harder.
That's fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go harder. And look, first thing that my wife and I did when we got home from the hospital is we came over to my whiteboard. I got one of those Vibe digital whiteboards, and we wrote on the whiteboard the 4 major pillars of our income and businesses, you know? And I looked at those 4 major pillars, and I looked at her and I said, which one of these can we get rid of so we can go all in on the other ones? And the idea was, how can we relieve the amount of stress that we go through from different directions?
Okay.
You know? And 30 minutes later, 45 minutes later, all 4 names are still up there. And so we realized that we're not getting rid of anything. So now what's the question? What's the answer? Right? So the answer is learn how to deal with the stress better and figure out ways to lower your high blood pressure. Like, that's the answer. At the end of the day, is medication the answer? No, medication's it's a pacifier. You know, it's going to be food. It's going to be exercise. It's going to be meditation. It's going to be whatever I can figure out, bro. If I got to call the Buddha and find out what I got to do to lower my heart rate, I'm going to figure it out because my stress level is about to go up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Doesn't make sense at all.
You're going harder. It's going to happen again.
Yeah. Entrepreneurship doesn't make sense, guys.
No,
Like,
No.
we're sick. We're sick fucks, man. It's
100%. We're sick as fuck.
no.
Yeah.
You know?
But, this is our purpose, man. This is our calling.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so, like, I know I have heart murmurs and palpitations sometimes. It's not as bad as it used to be. Like, I drink decaf coffee.
Yeah.
I don't take pre-workout. I've been ADHD like my whole life. I just learned how to like control it. So like, is pre-workout something you're still gonna do?
So no, I stopped taking pre-workout.
Okay.
I got some advice from a bodybuilder who told me that if I ate a Rice Krispie treat right before my workout, it would have the same effect.
Just a bunch of sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an insulin rush.
Uh-huh.
And
Yep.
for the time that you're working out, you feel that rush and it pushes through.
Interesting.
And I looked at him and I was like, that's not exactly healthy, is it? He goes, is pre-workout healthy, motherfucker? And I was like, probably not. You know?
Yeah, what's the lesser of two evils here?
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I've been doing. I bought 2 big ass boxes of Rice Krispies.
Just keep them in your
And,
vehicle,
I eat a
roll up to the gym,
treat.
eating one.
Yeah, right in the car, man. I have 2 Rice Krispies because I ended up getting the boxes, but they're like the little ones. So I
Yeah.
eat 2 of them on the way to the
Bite-sized.
gym. And dude, I feel like, wired up a little bit. Maybe do an espresso shot. One of the things I'm gonna do is buy an Nespresso
Mm-hmm.
so that I can do a small shot of coffee
Yeah.
and just shoot that with the Rice Krispie treat and roll out to the gym. That's going to be, because it's natural, because it's coffee and we buy coffee bean and grind it. So because it's coffee and it's more natural and it's a Rice Krispie treat, so it's just basically sugar, I think I'm doing better than doing pre-workout that has a lot of chemicals in it and, pushes
Super
your heart rate.
concentrated
And,
caffeine rates.
yeah, makes your skin itchy and all that shit.
Yeah.
Just doesn't happen with a Rice Krispie treat, and I still get what I feel to be good pumps. So,
Right.
now let me say this: like, I haven't had a strong full workout, so I'm baby stepping back into my workouts. Very lightweight. I was in the gym and I pushed 195, and I sat down and I was crazy dizzy, and I was like, okay, let's not do that again.
Was
You
this
know what I
after
mean?
after the heart attack?
Yeah, like this week,
Oh man.
So I was like, let's not do that again. Let's build back up,
Sure. Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
So, yeah. I'm just,
Wow.
trying to pay attention to my body and see what happens next.
Smart. That's all you really can do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Damn, man. So, it feels weird to say this actually, but like, is that the worst thing that's happened on your entrepreneurial journey?
No.
Yeah, right? Like, it's. Oh man.
No.
So
Yeah,
like
no.
what we definitely like to ask people, like obviously first and foremost, your heart attack story is like, top of mind as soon as we hopped in, man. We wanted to, dig into that with you and find out what you went through and how that affected you. But obviously, the main thing that we like to dig into is like, what's the worst shit, man, you've been through? Like, what's the funniest shit as an entrepreneur that you like, it was like just ridiculous. You persevered through it somehow, some way.
I mean, look, dude, I've been through the ringer, man, as an entrepreneur. Then again, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, right? So it's almost like you're asking for it. I've been through the ringer, man. I've had partners who have faltered. I have partners who have stole. I've had partners that I paid very handsomely when they decided to walk away and then left and tried to destroy me on social media. I've had people sue me. I had a former partner sue me on a lie in the middle of COVID and get an injunction on me so that I couldn't work in my industry at all that year for about 9 months.
So here's a better way to word this question for you then, because damn, we got a laundry list, right? What is the one that you had, so for me, like my wife jokes, she's like, I pity anyone who crosses you because God has this just this, protection over you, that when people do you wrong, it comes back on them tenfold.
Yeah.
And so like, I, even in times, like I've been through a lot of that kind of stuff too, man. And it's like, ultimately I'm a very, I don't wish ill on anybody, but I always have the last laugh, even if I'm not laughing. Right.
Yeah.
Karma's a bitch, but it's definitely, I think it has a lot to do with, the positive karma that you build up when people do you wrong. Right. It's about how hard that bag, the heavy bag is going to swing back and knock them on their ass. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, there's a big part of it. I think most people who act in that fashion end up being the clown in the situation, So like, we talk about the person that went off on social media trying to destroy me on social media. After a little while, they just start looking silly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I don't respond.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not, I am not DMX, Ja Rule, or Jay-Z. This is not a rap battle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We're not in third grade, and I'm not going to meet you outside at 3:00 in the play yard. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a grown ass man, dude. You know what I mean? And I run a business, and I'm the face of my business, and there are people who depend on my business to operate. Mm-hmm. And the last thing I'm going to do is go out there and look like a fucking fool on social media, like a little girl arguing about some silly shit. Mm-hmm. Not that, And so that's just not in my nature. I think maybe the worst thing that ever happened to me was the lawsuit, because it lasted so long and drained the bank account with attorney fees so much that it ended up forcing into a bankruptcy, and which in turn ended up being a bankruptcy and a settlement anyway, right? So the settlement should have happened years ago, and we would have been all right. And I would have done the settlement, even though I was in the right and he was in the wrong. I would have agreed to the settlement to not fight for 4 years and end up in a bankruptcy, right?
Yeah.
So you pick the easiest route, and it just so happened to be during COVID, which meant that I wasn't, I had an injunction against me and I wasn't allowed to work in my business, which meant that I couldn't operate in real estate or coaching real estate agents, which meant that I had no business, which meant that it was 10 months and the courts were closed. When the judge finally signed the order abolishing the injunction based on lies, and then when I was able to get back to work, it was the end of the year, and I had to completely rebuild everything. Everything.
Wow.
Like everything. I lost everybody. I can't tell you how many people walked away from me and never spoke to me again. How many people believed the other side. How many people avoided me just so they wouldn't have to be involved instead of standing up for me. Like, dude, it's a laundry list,
Yeah, man. Yeah. It sure is.
Yeah.
And what I've found is, even obviously, even when you're in the right, there's a lesson in it. There's you become battle tested. So like, you conduct yourself in a better way each time, right?
Yeah.
It's like what is it? The just like kind of the fail quickly concept, right? Like just make as many mistakes as you can as quickly as possible so you can learn from them.
Fail forward, fail fast.
No.
All
right, so let's hear it. I want to hear the
Absolutely fucking not, bro.
What?
Listen,
Tell us.
First of all, the definition of failure is to quit.
Yeah.
For you to tell me that you're going to fail forward is literally saying I will quit so that I can go forward more. Doesn't fucking make sense whatsoever. That sentence just doesn't make sense. Like if I can give you anything at all from this whole podcast, is to get the fucking thought of failing forward out of your head and start thinking about succeeding forward, because words are so powerful. That if you go to the universe and you continue to say the words, I'm going to fail forward, I need to fail forward, you're literally asking for failure so that you can learn a lesson. Let me ask you a question. When you went to school and you learned new math, did you have to fail at it first to learn new math?
No.
You just had to suck at it for a while.
You didn't even suck at it. You didn't know it.
True.
And you can't suck at something you don't fucking know. Like, I don't know how to play basketball. Of course I fucking suck at it. But if you give me a coach, if you give me a basketball coach, if I go play with the Lakers coach for the next 2 years, you think I might be good at basketball?
You better be.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Right? And I think this is where people mess up the most. Will you make mistakes? Yes. Are they failures? No. They can be. If you quit, you cry, you crawl into a corner, and you die.
Yeah.
Right? So people will ask me, all right, Dave, like, you're so fucking smart. What if I have a restaurant and the restaurant fails and I open up a flower shop? Then that was a failure. No, it wasn't. Did you learn a lesson from operating that restaurant and why it closed? And are you utilizing those lessons to grow your flower shop? If
Right.
the answer is yes, then you didn't fail. You just had a hiccup in your business, in your life, or your career, and you're pushing forward.
So by this
Think about that.
definition, it's, do you stop pursuing your dreams and your purpose?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, and again, the words fail forward don't even make sense together. It's like using a negative. So here's a perfect
Oxymoron.
example.
Yeah.
Right? It's an oxymoron. I had a conversation with a client of mine this morning, and I said, it's like going down the double black, right? Like, talking about skiing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like going down the double black and getting to the bottom and saying, but I didn't fall. Rather than saying, wow, did you see that? Successfully fucking dominated the double black.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no,
First
that's a
time.
great perspective shift. I'm sure that's going to hit somebody. That hit me like a ton of bricks just then. So thanks for that one.
Yeah,
That's
it's funny. I've never
Actually-
lived by the fail forward thing. It's actually I just saw it as a headline and it reminded me of it when you said it. But yeah, like I'm a big believer of where attention goes, energy flows. So like, yeah,
You got to use your words wisely. And, people should be focused on avoiding failure, right? But here's the thing. You can't go to the world and say, I must avoid failure. Because if you go to the world and say, I must avoid failure, the world, the universe, God hears failure.
Yeah.
I was just having a conversation with Josh about this yesterday.
So literally, the world would put failure in your way to help you avoid it. Or you could go to the world and say, I'm going to succeed forward. I'm always going to be winning. I'm a fucking winner. I'm the most competitive person in the world. Andy Elliott will say, self-proclaim your shit. Because if you self-proclaim it, it'll become real.
so good.
Self-proclaim #1 podcast, right? On entrepreneurship. That's you.
Man. Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And if you continue to say that out loud, it will be true for you.
No.
It will be reality, And again, it's completely up to you how you use the words. I actually wrote a book on this, so you guys can check it out.
Yeah,
the book?
for sure. Yeah, show us.
Amazon.
Got it.
Amazon bestseller, man. The Truth About Failure.
Love it. Put
You're
the
the
link
dude to
in
be
the
talking
comments.
to about this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. It's like probably my best piece. Like, I've written 3 books. That's my favorite piece. Like I send it out to as many people as I can. I force people to buy it. When we launched it, we had a special where if you buy 10, you get the training for free. And the idea was if we can get people to hand out 9 more books to people, wow. You know what I mean? Like, could we change this concept where Tony Robbins never, ever gets on a stage again and says fail forward? Because David Kurz told them, no, it doesn't make sense.
Well, Joshua and Kevin aren't going to be saying it.
Listen,
Yeah.
think about your words, man. Words are powerful, man. Words
Yeah,
are
absolutely.
powerful. How imagine how you interact with people. If you're coaching a client, you tell a client to fail forward, you're telling them to fail. That's ridiculous. What kind of coach says that?
Exactly.
Right? It's like Tim Grover looking at Kobe and saying, I need you to miss 50 shots before you make one. What? You know what I mean?
It's super
No,
counterintuitive
bro.
when you break it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I promise Grover was not looking at Kobe telling him to miss shots in order for him to learn a lesson.
Yeah, definitely not.
Do
you have like top of mind any other, because while we're on the topic of misnomers or good sounding bad advice, do you have any other common misconceptions that you've heard people believe that probably keep them stuck or You know, I have one, for example, to give you to make your brain start thinking of something. I was involved in a network marketing insurance agency before I pivoted into the private wealth management space, and then into coaching, and then now what we're doing in AI. And one of the things that they said often was, you got to burn, you got to burn all ships. And while I believe burning all ships is good, like not having a plan B, they said that to make you focus only all on one thing. And so the saying was, if you have a plan B, your plan A will fail. Have you ever heard that?
Yes.
And you run multiple businesses. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, I'm a believer, because none of my businesses are a plan B.
Okay.
Right? All of my businesses are spin-off from plan A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like
They all feed each other. You know?
Yeah.
So none of my businesses are a plan B. None of my businesses, like I told you, we put these 4 businesses on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I said which one to get rid of, and we didn't get rid of any.
Yeah.
If any of them was a plan B, I would have burned the boat.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is this, I am a believer that if you have a backup option, you'll take the backup.
Mm-hmm.
And if the backup option is, so here we go. In front of me, there's a forest, and in that forest, there's entrepreneurship. And behind me, there's an ocean with a boat, and the boat is security.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we already know entrepreneurship sucks. Entrepreneurship is painful. Entrepreneurship will bring you troubles. It'll create arguments in your household. It will take you away from time with your kids. You will miss volleyball games. You will miss baseball games. You will miss fucking basketball. You will miss teacher planning days. You will miss shit because of entrepreneurship. But security is going to give you PTO and insurance and all kinds of shit. And if I say, you know what, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, but as a plan B, I'm going to leave security there. I'm not going to burn that boat, because if I do, then I won't have the opportunity to come back when it feels painful. It's going to be painful. We already know.
Mm-hmm.
So someone who has the boat still, the first sign of pain, they're out. Maybe they push past that one, but the pain's never over. There's more pain later on.
It's just a different kind.
And they turn around and they go, listen, this is not for me. I'm going to go back to the boat.
Mm-hmm.
But if you burn the
Whatever
boat,
their tolerance threshold is, they're going to run back.
Yeah. But if you burn the boat, there's no other option. You keep going, you keep going, you keep going. You learn how to deal, and you become more adaptive, right? You become more adaptive to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
If I left you on a deserted island, and I took the boat and I burned it, and I flew away in my helicopter and I left you there, you'd have 2 choices. You could die, or you could figure it the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
And an intuitive person that is merciless and competitive and strong and has a great mindset will figure it out. You will figure out how to create shelter. You will figure out where to get food. You will figure out which berries make you happy and which berries give you the shits. Like, you'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And over time, you'll learn some lessons, and you'll make some mistakes, and you'll get bit by some spiders, and shit's going to happen. But it ain't going to happen all the time, because you're going to learn lessons as you move forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
1,000%. Yes.
Yeah, I'm a believer in that. Here's another one for you. How do you feel about the phrase collaboration over competition?
I think that, so me personally, I like to compete with the version of myself from yesterday, and I like to collaborate with people that I vibe with, that feel like they're part of my tribe. I don't like to look out into the marketplace for competitors, because then I'm putting myself in a mindset of adversity instead of abundance. I compete with the old version of me, the things that I want to improve on myself. I compete with that. I continue to push that person against that old person.
Do you think it might be healthy to look at a competitor, study what they do, and go, I could dominate that person's market?
Yep. That's what my answer is going to be. I would say the degree to which I view others as competition has to do with like the industry. Like I wouldn't like we're in AI and you're in coaching and real estate. I wouldn't look at you and be like competitor, you know? But I do look at people in our space and I'm like, I'm going to take your lunch. And
Yeah, I don't. I don't.
You're what?
Yeah.
I do not at all. And so here's why. And I'll tell you exactly why.
By the way, there's no wrong answer.
Yeah,
to
there's
this, right?
not. Yeah.
It's like a trick question,
Yeah.
but
And I think that might be why we're a good partnership, man. We are so like each other's yin and yang, right? So like the way I look at it is adversity breeds adversity. And like energy attracts like energy. So if in my perspective of it is if I'm focused on dominating my competition, I'm attracting them to fight back, and I'd rather just stay in my own lane.
but they're going to, whether you like it or not.
No, and it's not a matter of liking it or not.
If you compete against yourself on a daily basis, and then one day you find yourself surpassing them, they're going to look at you and go, "Whoa, hold on a second, I'm not letting that happen."
They're going to come out of the woodworks anyway. Yeah,
and there's going to be a race to the top, right? Unless they're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Which
now is the trick. Now I'm with Josh on this, right? Because if you're not paying attention to your competition, how can you have a competitive nature?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every sport has a competitive nature.
Mm-hmm.
Even golf.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Golf is super competitive.
Super competitive. But think about this. Who are you playing against? You or the course? Who are you playing against? Other players or the course?
You're playing against.
It's really.
You're playing against the course, right? The course has a number. You're trying to beat that number by far, so that you can then beat the other people who lost against the course or won against the course.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I think there is something to be said, though, about the limitation you could potentially be setting on yourself by focusing on competition instead of. Right. So when you talk about like Kobe or Michael Jordan, I don't think they were ever looking at other people's stats. I think they were looking at like the end of the universe.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. Kobe would find out the habits of the people that he was playing against that day.
Yeah.
And he would go into the gym an hour before them, and he wouldn't leave until they left. Think about that for a minute, right?
Animal.
He wanted them to go into the game thinking to themselves, when does this guy ever fucking stop?
Yeah.
Right? Think about Kobe's 80-point game where he got 81 points, right? What do you think that was? There was almost no collaboration there. He was on fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got 35 points. Somebody told him, you ain't going to get 40. So he got 40. Then somebody told him, dude, you ain't going to get 50. Right on the court.
Yeah.
So he got
I love it. I wonder if
Now here's the cool part about this. Do you think that your competitors appreciate your competitive nature?
Oh, that's a good question.
I guess it depends.
That's a really good question.
A good one.
Yeah,
does,
that's really good.
Right?
I would hope so.
Did you see the commercial? I'm going to go off battle here, right? So here's what happens. You get so good that they see it, right? And so the same guy that was saying, you ain't going to get 50, and he got 50, you know what the next comment was? Fuck it, bro. Go for 60. Can you get 70? Bro, let's go for 80. Go for 80. Go for 80.
And now your competitors start to become your
collaborators.
Your adversary, right? And so now think about this. Mercedes, BMW, competitors, right? Okay. When the CEO of Mercedes retired after like 30 years, right? What did BMW do?
I actually don't know.
They literally got with the CEO of Mercedes to make a collaborative commercial where it showed the CEO of Mercedes coming down the elevator, getting out of the elevator, everyone in the lobby clapping at Mercedes, right? then going to the counter, the front girl, the receptionist, giving his ID
my
card.
God. And getting into his BMW.
Everybody clapping. Then he goes outside. There's a driver with a beautiful Maybach, right? Mercedes. He sits in the Mercedes, goes home, gets dropped off at home, opens the garage, and there's a fucking BMW i8 in the garage. He gets in the car, turns it on, and he drives off.
Oh my God.
And the end of the commercial says, thank you, I can't remember his name, but thank you to his name for so many years of competitive nature.
Wow.
Oof. That just gave me goosebumps, man.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, now you start thinking about the phrase collaboration over competition. I think they each have their place. Like you and I could probably collaborate on some shit.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't even be competitors. I also think it has its place with competitors. There's a place for it. But if you always say collaboration over competition, it will take away from your competitive nature.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And if it takes away from your competitive nature, what are you fighting for? Dude, this is a blood sport, man.
Yeah.
Every sport, every war, everything. We literally live life in a competitive nature. I literally love my wife every day in competitive nature.
Yeah.
To make sure that I provide so much love and support that the next motherfucker that says, hey, girl, you look good, doesn't stand a chance.
Absolutely.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Man.
Yeah. The concept, the principle, it applies so deep. Like it spreads across so many different facets of like our existence. Entrepreneurship is a sport. It's a game, and it's
a game's fun though. By the way,
absolutely.
If you
it
treat
gives you
that
heart
way.
attacks, and
It sure does.
and we live to tell the story and laugh about it, man. See,
Both-
you're
both
laughing
real
about it.
and-
It's amazing.
Listen, both real and proverbial heart attacks, right? Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the win, bro. This is the win. You know, listen, at the end of the day, if you want to create, if you want to control your own fate and you want to control your income, then entrepreneurship's the way to go. If you want to have a normal life with a decent pay and little control over it, you just want to live a life, then entrepreneurship's not for you.
No.
It's very simple equation. Very simple equation.
Yeah.
It is.
Because entrepreneurship is interesting in the fact that if you only need to make $100,000 a year, then you just do what makes you $100,000 a year. You know, and if you only need to make $250,000 a year, then you do what makes you $250,000 a year.
Yeah, you can get a job
But
and do that.
Right. But you could do it in entrepreneurship too, just fine. You know, I know real estate agents that they don't care about making $1 million a year. There are some of them out there that don't care for it. They really don't. We always think that everybody wants to make $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a year, right? No, that's not true. They just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Some people don't care. You know? Some
You know-
people just want to make X amount of money to cover their bills, pay off their house, live a good life, enjoy their families, go on vacation, and they realize this is the amount of money I need to be able to like go on 2 or 3 vacations a year with my family, take good care of them, put my kids in sport, put them in private school, drive a reliable car, and live in a really nice house. That's it.
Yeah. That
Outside
was
of
my
that-
family. Yeah.
Outside of
growing up.
that, outside of that, we're just having fucking fun, bro.
Exactly.
Any more money than what you need is not fun.
So that begs a question. And I think that the underlying answer to this question is purpose and identity. But why choose the game of entrepreneurship? Like, what is it in somebody that makes them like, this is that the picture that you just painted of just, getting by, not needing that level of income? What is it that drives an entrepreneur to do? Do you think it's like adversity? Do you think, like, for me, I think it was my purpose and my calling, like, and my identity, and several other things. But like, what do you think drives somebody to choose this route?
I think all entrepreneurs that are like strong entrepreneurs have something a little off in their heads. We're not right.
No.
Like we're not normal.
We have some deep rooted trauma that we're working through with this shit.
100%, man.
Yep.
We're coming from a place that has pushed us into the desire to force ourselves into painful situations that provide pleasure.
Yeah, man.
Was yours finding out that you were Jewish?
It's little income S&M. It's little. It's income S&M. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear what I said?
No, I didn't.
I said was yours finding out that you were Jewish?
Yeah, no shit, right? I tell everybody I'm 100% Puerto Rican, but I'm Jewish from the pockets down.
That's so funny. That's good, man.
Yeah, man. I think all of us got a little something wrong with us. And at some point, there was a trigger that said, I want to control my fate, you know? And we took the challenge.
Yeah.
And, some make it, some don't. That's okay. Like, it's supposed to be that way. Not everybody's supposed to be a millionaire, because if everybody was a millionaire, being a millionaire wouldn't be exciting. And also, like, somebody needs to serve you cheeseburgers at McDonald's.
That's
like,
right.
Everybody has a place and everybody has a desire. There was a guy that did 20 years at McDonald's or 30 years at McDonald's without missing a day, and they sent them a big ass check for his retirement, and it was all over social media, like there's so many people are designed for so many different things that we can't put everybody in a box. And the entrepreneur, so many different styles of us, there's so many different types of entrepreneurs. Like I said, there's guys who just want to make $100 grand a year. And there's guys that want to franchise their businesses and make it like superstar stardom and live in $1 billion house and buy a house next door to Jeff Bezos, it's
there's the Silicon Valley entrepreneur, and then there's the bootstrap, Russell Brunson, like that fund yourself type,
Yeah. And there's the blue collar.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Do like with your family and your kids, do you notice that they have, just by growing up with a father who's like this, or do they have that same spirit and that same mentality, or has that trickled down?
That's interesting. I think some of them do, some of them don't. I think that, both mom and dad are entrepreneurs, and they've only known that. And we have some opportunities where we take a Saturday morning and we come up to my office in the house and we build businesses with them. And we show them how to take an idea and formulate it into reality. One of my kids is building a Korean makeup website, wholesaler, trying to do it. So, they understand understanding problem and solution and providing value, and so they see things in a different way. My 24-year-old, and that's my 13 and 16-year-old, by the way.
Yeah.
My 24-year-old.
Yeah. So they go on TikTok and they see something trending and they see it as an opportunity.
They do. But they also look at problem and solution. So my daughter that's doing the Korean makeup, she goes, man, the problem is no matter where you buy, you can't get it fast enough. And I was like, how do you solve that problem? And she said, we stock it and wholesale it. Okay, how do you get there? We start really dissecting the businesses.
That's awesome.
Interesting. Yeah.
So many different ideas, so many different opportunities. But, and we even thought about building a Shark Tank situation in my house. So that'll be happening sometime later this year, where
like a family game style.
Yeah, but we're going to do it where they actually build the businesses, websites, formulate the finances behind it, do the whole thing. And then I'm going to invite a bunch of my friends over and see who wants to invest in it.
That's pretty cool, man. You should turn that into a YouTube channel, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I think that would blow up. Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I think I've seen a version of something like that, like Shark Tank for kids.
Yeah.
But you see on some episodes people bring their kids on there.
Yep.
And oftentimes part of the idea came from the kid just being creative and having the idea. And I think it's so cool to be able to have the parent that knows how to probe at their thinking the right way to extract the more out of it. And then
And Andy Elliott said something interesting this past weekend. He said we got two choices: we can build generational wealth, or we can build generational habits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Generational
And so,
wealth, the saying is like
yeah,
hard men
goes
create
away.
good times and so on,
Goes
right?
away. Yep, goes away.
Yep.
Yep. But generational habits, you teach your children the habits of becoming strong, independent entrepreneurs. You can't take that away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was a scripture, you raise a young person up in the way to go and they won't depart from it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, my son's 15. He just turned 15 in January. He wanted an $1,100 SE bike. I'm like, how are you going to get it?
Yeah.
How are we going to make this happen for you? How are we going to,
What do you do?
figure it out.
Yep.
He went out. $12. I bought him a rake at Walmart. He came back with enough money to make the down payment. He makes his monthly payments.
That's the shit right there, bro.
He's got an $1,100 bike. He's 15. He's got the coolest bike in town, and it's a wheelie bike. He'll do wheelies for freaking multiple blocks on the thing. He loves it. But
by the way, it feels better when you chipped in on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my kid, she had saved a bunch of money, and then her Sweet 16 came around, and she asked everybody for money versus gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And she was able to put together a ton of change for her car.
Yeah.
So basically she was like, here, this is how much I have. And then I put in some more, obviously. Mm-hmm. And she bought herself a 2017 Mini Cooper.
Yep.
Wow.
Love it. That's
so cool.
And
that's awesome.
That reminds me of, I was actually just about to say something about, we were talking about something else earlier. And I was like, I'm not a huge fan of the like other people's money, the Silicon Valley, like entrepreneurial pursuit. I think that it makes pussies. I think that it makes people who think they can skip the hard part, right? I believe that you should, and you should transition into the other people's money mindset once you've reached a level of grit and resilience. Right. Of bootstrapping.
Once you've shown that you can actually
turning
do the
$1 into $2 and $2 into $5 and all that. Right?
That's why so many of them fail, though.
Yeah.
How many Silicon Valley opportunities fail?
Yep. They go belly up
because they never put in the grit. So now they've got the money, and now they have to do the work.
Yep.
You have all the money in the world, but if you're not going to do the work's going to fail you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We have investors, but we didn't have investors before we were revenue producing. And I was speaking with them. And he was just like, we've given investment to people who just had an idea and it wasn't even revenue producing yet. And so I was like you can raise capital for just an idea. And I'm like, we're over here and we've actually launched this thing. And I'm like, we want to invest in it.
Like is basically a safety net just in case. So if we're at that weird point where it's like revenue's lower than, margins right now for a month, that point where most businesses fail, we have something like the reserve to just dip into to push us over the line, right?
Yeah.
But we're relying on profit to scale your business, man. It's an important journey.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Huge.
So, curious to know, what is, I know you're involved in a lot of things. You're going harder because of what has recently happened. But like, what's the thing that you're most excited about right now in your entrepreneurial journey? This just got you, like, obviously, 4 businesses that you're running. But like, is there anything in particular that just keeps you up besides just all of it?
I mean, I think listen, I'm a big believer that everything is in a specific order, and the correct order is you, then your family, then your business. And so what gets me going on a daily basis is my family. I tell I literally voice something beautiful to my wife every morning. I compliment her all the time. I give my kids love before they dip. I give my kids love when they come back. If I miss them, I text them, you know, my family's crazy important to me. Right now, I'm taking off to Orlando. My kids have competitive volleyball. Could I be home working my ass off? Absolutely. So I have a million things to do. Sure do. But what's more important, me getting that shit done and them knowing not knowing what I'm doing, or me sitting courtside watching them smack fucking volleyballs into girls' faces? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
that's where, that's where I want to be. I want to be the one. I want to have the pictures on my phone, not because they were sent to me, but because I took them.
Yeah.
And so that fucking gets me going.
Yeah.
And I know that in order for me to live that life, I've got to build a big and live that life and live the life that I desire. I got to build big, I got to build big. So that gets me going,
I do know.
All right, Jen, I got to bounce, but I'm loving this podcast. I hate to cut it off though, because
good, man.
I got a big call coming up. So, y'all pray for me.
Absolutely. We will be praying for you, my man.
Yeah, man.
Well, we'll go ahead and cut it off there.
This has been awesome.
And
thank you for coming. We'll have to have you on again.
Thank you for having me on your podcast, man. I know that this is going to be a fun and successful podcast.
Thank you.
So, I'm pumped for you guys.
Yeah, and
for sure.
Just
Thanks,
real
man.
quick, one thing that we're gonna do, like you sound like you at least know a little bit about a hip hop. So maybe you've seen like Drink Champs, where they give the flowers, right? So what we're going to be doing is we're doing customized Entrepreneurship Sucks championship belts. And so it'll have your name on it, just for champion through the fucking bullshit and, get into where you are and continuing to be a champion. Right. So
That's huge.
We'll get that off to you. We're still getting everything together. It may be a little bit, but we'll make sure that you're on the list and you get one so you can hang it up behind you, man. Appreciate you,
man. Hey, we'll be in touch,
man.
Thank you.
Best of luck on your next call. Later.